Welcome back to Grammar Fundamentals for the SAT. This is Chapter 11, Lesson 78. Last time, we set off extra words in the middle of a sentence. Now we look at what happens when a phrase opens the sentence. Today, commas and introductory phrases. Let's start with introductory prepositional phrases, those that begin with words like from, in, over, on. Use a comma after such a phrase when it's long, when several phrases stack up, or when leaving the comma out would make the reader stumble. From the cliff above, the lake looked like a mirror. That comma after above tells the reader the opener has ended, and the main sentence is about to begin. Without it, you might read, "the cliff above the lake," as one chunk, and lose your way. But here's the catch that the test loves. Do not add a comma if the introductory prepositional phrase is followed right away by the verb. Over the mantelpiece hung a portrait of Aunt June. The phrase over the mantelpiece runs straight into the verb hung, so no comma. If you drop one in, over the mantelpiece, comma, hung, you've cut the verb off from the rest of its own sentence. So when the phrase flows directly into the verb, leave the comma out. Now the easy, reliable rule. Always use a comma after an introductory participle or participial phrase, those verb forms ending in ing or ed that act as describers. Hoping for the best, Ray Allen checked the list. The opener, hoping for the best, describes Ray, and it always takes a comma. Even a single participle counts. Colliding, the two cars came to a crunching halt. One word, colliding, still gets its comma. So with participial openers, there's no judgment call. The comma is always there. So here's your quick decision when a phrase opens the sentence. First, is it a participle, an ing or ed describer? If so, always use a comma. Second, does the verb come right after a prepositional phrase? If so, no comma. Third, is the opener long, stacked, or easy to misread? Then use a comma to keep it clear. Run those three checks and you'll punctuate every introductory phrase correctly. Let's practice. Each of these sentences opens with a phrase that needs a comma after it. Decide where the opener ends. Pause and try each. Hoping for the best, Ray Allen checked the list. The opener is the participial phrase, hoping for the best, and it ends at best, so the comma goes there. So the answer is comma after best. Floating on the water, some seeds are light enough to travel for many miles. The participial opener, floating on the water, ends at water, so that's where the comma goes. So the answer is comma after water. In a patch of bare soil outside your door, new plants will spring up almost overnight. That's a long prepositional opener, and it ends at door, so the comma keeps it clear. So the answer is comma after door. 3 more. This time, decide whether the sentence needs a comma after its opening, or is already fine because the verb follows. Pause and try each. On to barren ground fall many more seeds that will not germinate. The opener, on to barren ground, runs straight into the verb fall, so no comma. So the answer is correct as is. Into the air fly these lightweight seeds. Again, the opener, into the air, leads straight into the verb fly, so we leave the comma out. So the answer is correct as is. Learning quickly, the chewers of such plants usually move on. That opener, learning quickly, is a participial phrase, and participial openers always take a comma. So the answer is needs a comma. Let's wrap up. When a phrase opens the sentence, run 3 checks. An introductory participle, an ing or ed describer, always gets a comma. A prepositional phrase that runs straight into the verb gets no comma. And a long or easily misread opener gets a comma to keep things clear. Find where the opener ends, and that's where the comma falls. Great work! In Lesson 79, we'll handle adverb clauses and contrasting antithetical phrases.